Welcome back to Affirmations. I want to welcome my subscribers and any new subscribers that I have, as well as those who are just swinging through. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's really appreciated. Do like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell in order to know when I post. Okay. All right. And so I'm hoping everyone had a good week. And again, if it wasn't a good week, what is one thing you can do to make it better? Okay. And for those of you that are new, we always start off with our saying, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Have you been feeding yourself fresh or rotten fruit? I'm hoping that is fresh. Always wanting to mind what we speak, as well as the self-talk that we do with ourselves, as well as what we speak about others. It's okay to discuss things, but also wanting to be mindful, making sure that we're not being malicious towards others or lying on them. Again, the concept of reap what you sow. Sometimes those things can come back on you, and we do not want that. Okay, so we want to be kind. Okay. So what we are going to do, let's see. So for those of you that are new, each week we pull from the self-therapy card decks. And we're using these for the healing of our people, the descendants of the slaves, slavery. And again, there are traumas that we never got counseling for, and so they still play out today. And also, too, we encouraging everyone to get the book called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, America's Legacy of Enduring Injury and Healing by Dr. Joy DeGury. Okay. Excellent book. We've heard of post-traumatic stress disorder, never post-traumatic slave syndrome. Again, helps us to really understand how we have been affected. Okay. And I'm going to do something a little different. I'm actually going to read a little excerpt out of this today. I thought her intro was so profound, okay? And so we're going to kind of read a little bit today, okay? Let's see. So this is an introduction. She says, we must return and claim our past in order to move towards our future. It is in understanding who we were that will free us to embrace who we now are, the meaning of Sankofa. Okay, and Sankofa means return and get it. In the summer of 1994, my sister, my niece, and I were among 9 African American women who traveled to Southern Africa together. Upon my return, I found it difficult to adjust to being back in Portland, Oregon, a city once touted as being the whitest city in America. My 6-week journey through Southern Africa had left an indelible mark on my heart and soul. I sat in my living room, reminiscing about the villages in Lesotho, the sweetness of the children, their level of generosity, and their well-mannered behavior. We were always treated kindly and offered food and drink, even when there was barely enough for one person, let alone guests. This reminded me of how my mother always used to feed what seemed to be the whole neighborhood. She had taught my brothers, my sisters, and I that there was always enough food to share. Now I was back home trying to reacclimate to my daily routines. My difficulty achieving this caused considerable concern among some of the women who were on the trip. They began calling my sister, asking, has Joy left the house yet? My many years as a mental health clinician at least assured me that I wasn't nuts. I simply needed time to adjust to having been in a place for the first time, it felt perfectly normal to be Black. It felt odd returning to America, to a place where being Black is frequently a life sentence of cultural isolation and social invisibility. My reminiscing was abruptly cut short when my 9-year-old stepdaughter came racing into the room. She was out of breath and quite panicked about a situation that was happening outside in front of the house. There's a boy outside who's threatening to beat up Nadine. That's her stepbrother. And he says he's going to pee on our car too, she said as she tried to catch her breath. Well, I was finally going to have to get out of the house. I walked out to the scene of several young black boys standing in the middle of the street. They looked to be around about 10 or 11. They were facing my son, who stood alone. I identified the boy standing directly in front of my son as the instigator and asked, "Is there something that my son has done that you would like to tell me about?" The young, rather stout and angry little boy responded, "What he's staring at." "Excuse me," I said. What did you say?" And the boy repeated, "I want to know what he's staring at. Does he got some kind of eyeball problem?" I was a little startled, but I managed to ask, "Are you saying to me that you want to beat my son into the ground because he was looking at you?" The young man seemed a bit uneasy with my question and hesitated and responded, "Yeah, what he think he looking at?" I paused for a moment, considering what he had said, and then responded, "My son may have been looking at you because he thought that you might want to play some basketball in front of our house since we have a hoop. He may have been looking at you because he was thinking of asking you if you'd like to play one of his video games in the house. He could have been looking at you because he thought that maybe you might want to walk down the street to the park." The little boy looked to be rather overwhelmed by my statements, as if to say, "Whoa, lady, it's not that deep." I eventually managed to settle things down by giving the boys my canned spiel, explaining how important it is for African Americans living in the hood not to fight and to keep each other safe. He seemed to buy it enough to agree to not beat up my son, much to Nadim's relief. After the boys walked away, it dawned on me that there was a stark contrast between the experience and those in Southern African, where the young African males greeted each other with common phrases like, "I see you." I couldn't help feeling the emotional distance that separated the two statements: the friendly acknowledgement, "I see you," and the angry menacing, "What you're looking at." The gap between Africans and African Americans was suddenly stark and clear. Somewhere along the way, African American children have become so emotionally fragile that they cannot often withstand the implications associated with a simple gaze. I went back inside and continued thinking about what had just happened. As I sat in my living room, I recall other incidents that at the time I had thought to be nothing out of the ordinary. In considering how we as humans arrive to our self-concept of our self-esteem, this statement sums up the role that significant others play in our sense of worth. I am not who I think I am, and I am not who you think I am. I am who I think that you think I am. What has happened to this little boy's ego integrity? And why was he so mad at my son, who is black like him? My belief is that the little boy does not hold the same anger towards white people because they do not know who he is, nor can they really see who he is. He was, however, mad at black people like my son, who can see the emptiness in him, his vacant esteem. His question, "What you looking at?" implied that whatever he thought that my son was looking at was worthy of him beating Nadim bloody for it. Okay? I wanted to share that with you all. And, you know, it has come to that. I even look at how we as a people is how it's played out with even us adults. You know, you walk in stores, sometimes you were like, should I smile at this person and say hi? We quickly turn away from each other, very uncomfortable. Men seem to have some type of camaraderie, but for the most part, we kind of mean mug each other, even as adults. It's really sad. And I like what she said. It's that you're looking at me because you can see through me. You can see, I don't care how well dressed I am. I don't care the mask that I put on. You just might be able to see my fragileness, okay? And instead of feeling safe about that because they've taught us to compete with each other, we feel like we have to protect ourselves, okay? So one of the things we want to work on is this week, the challenge is to, smile. Actually catch the gaze of your brother or your sister, smile and say hello. And understand and don't get upset if they should frown. Okay, understand that's just part of it. But as we each start doing that, who knows, it just may catch on. Okay. All right. Okay. So with that being said, and I am going to, for those of you who are new, I'm going to get the stones. It's going to let me know which deck we're going to speak from today. Okay. 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 So let's see. What are we getting today? Okay. So we normally always get me. You know, we can't go too long without getting our Bumblebee Jasper Stone. Okay. And that has to do with the action deck. Okay. So let's see what they got us doing today. Okay. All right. Yeah, and so for those of you, a lot those products that I just mentioned are on Amazon right now. Eventually, I will get a store, and I will be offering them to you. Okay, um, so yeah, very interesting thing to talk about. You know, learning to, love ourselves enough to where, you know, and then sometimes it may require that we need counseling or healing. In the comment section, there is information about if you feel like you need counseling, okay, and where you can get that, okay. All right, so let me go ahead and split down the middle and pick the one to the left. Interesting. It may coincide with what we just read. Self-confidence and loving yourself come from healthy self-esteem and from the positive beliefs that you hold about yourself, your talents, and your accomplishments. Write down a list of all your accomplishments, talents, and special qualities. Start every day next week reading this list and see how you feel throughout the day. We've actually gotten this one before, but I think it's perfect and not an accident that we randomly got this card with what I just read. One of the things we've been taught in slavery is to, we had to look down, when we were met with our oppressors. We weren't allowed, we had to step off the sidewalk, not make eye contact. And some of that, even plays out today with us amongst each other. We're doing that with each other, right? So our self-esteem has taken a beating. Also, too, if you bragged, you could get hurt for that. You've heard it, you think you're too uppity, right? So complimenting ourselves has been like we died for those things, and so we have to learn how to safely feel comfortable with being able to acknowledge and compliment ourselves. Okay, yeah. So try that activity, and again, if you can't figure out what accomplishment or what to put down about yourself, because again, we haven't practiced this, think about things that people have told you and make a list from that. Okay, all right, let's see what we're going to get next. Let's see. Wow, we're dealing with our self-esteem. Trying to get comfortable with ourselves. Because again, if we can't love ourselves, and we always talk about this, how there's a lot of missing books, biblically, and anyone interested, look up the Council of Nicaea, where they took out certain books. I know there's information about self-love spiritually in some ancient books somewhere that they've removed because, again, oh, wow. Did it knock out? No, it's still going. All right, guys. I was going too far. Just moving the bag. Sorry. Yeah, but know they remove possible books about self-love because, again, it's the cornerstone of being able to love other people. So I know it's writings about it, okay? So sometimes we have to look for our other missing information through, other readings and being able to decipher, okay? We got the pyrite stone, and this has to do with work, okay? Let's see what they're talking about work. Let's see what they want us to know about work, okay? And I'm hoping work is going well for you guys. And those of you who are working outside or doing more, things like that, hoping you all are keeping warm and being safe. Yeah. And for those of you that work, again, there's always a positive somewhere. Even if you don't like your job, when it's cold, just remember, ooh, I'm warm. That's something to, always looking for something to be thankful for, right? Kind of lift our spirits. Okay, so let's see what we're going to get. Okay. All right, so that one failed. Let's see what it's talking about. Boy, we got this one before. If I were to start a business, what type of business would it be? What industry and what would be the business model? So this is speaking to people, and some of you may have been always wanting to do this, to start your own business, right? And it takes a lot of courage, right? And sometimes it's a lot of obstacles. But one of the most important things to do is surround yourself with people who are supportive. I do believe that sometimes when you're trying to start a thing, not sometimes good to just let everyone know. Some people, everyone giving their input can kind of kill your energy. And so when you're considering this kind of thing of starting businesses and dealing with your dreams, that is something very sacred. That's something that sometimes you want to keep to yourself, or maybe just share with a select few of people that really can help move you forward, okay, until you have reached your goal, okay? So that's something to think about, especially working for jobs, especially if I'm just kind of, sometimes at some point we do get to a point we want to, pursue something that we have a passion for, right? Because as they say, as long as you are doing something you love, you never work, right? That's true. So that's something to think about. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for being with me today. And let's pull a affirmation card and see what we got. Let's see what we're going to get. Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay, it says, I release physical and emotional tension to create space for flow. I release physical and emotional tension to create space for flow. Yeah. So when we ignore our feelings, when we ignore even physical pain and emotional issues we're dealing with, it is blocking our creative ability to dream and pursue, okay, our life purpose, okay? So we want to keep that in mind, okay? And with that, I want to thank you all for returning. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, bye.